Hey, everybody. Welcome to a fantastic airing of The Wicked Edge. I am so excited. I have Hollywood legend, iconic actress on movie, television, Miss Doris Roberts, and I can't wait for you guys to talk to her. I'm so excited. You're going to love it. And guess what? She's online with me right now. I know you've probably seen her in Remington Steele, the Christmas Vacation movie with Chevy Chase, on Little Rascals. Everybody Loves Raymond. You can't forget her as the most wonderful Italian mother that ever lived. And so we're going to talk to her here in a second. So I just want to introduce her. She's amazing. And here she is, Miss Doris Roberts. Hi, Miss Roberts.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me on The Wicked Edge.
Okay. I also did 21 years on Broadway.
And we're going to talk about that because you're a legend and you're completely iconic. And I'm trying to keep my composure and not fan out right now. I hope I'm doing well. Because I'm going to share my evening. We're calling it Evening with Doris. So I'm going to share my evening with all of my listeners who also happen to be fans of yours as well. And so that's really exciting for me. So I want to share about how you
try to put you on another line so that I can hear it better, okay?
No problem.
I have all these gardeners making a lot of noise.
Not a problem.
Can you hear
so,
me? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Talk to me?
Can you hear me okay?
It's not helping that line. See if I can talk to me and see if I've got a better line for you.
Okay. Is it better? Can you hear me now? How's this? Is that better? Does that line work better?
It seems a little muffled.
Muffled? Let me try something. 1 second here. Is that better?
Is that better? Talk to me.
How's that? Is that better? Can you hear a little better with that?
It's a little better.
Okay. How about now?
Okay. I now have dogs barking and gardeners with more noise than I've ever heard them have before.
You know what? It's one of those days where if it can go wrong or interfere in any way, it's going to happen. Okay. Is that a little better?
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So I want to talk about how you got started in acting as a whole.
Okay.
So how did you get started?
Kindergarten. I had one line in a play, and it was, "I am Patrick Potato, and this is my cousin, Mrs. Tomato." And I heard laughter in that room, and that little bug of laughter bit me, and it's been biting me ever since.
That's awesome. So that was technically your very first role ever.
Yeah.
And just ever since then, you just wanted to act.
Yeah.
What was your very first major role? Like, was it a commercial? Was it a television show, a movie, or was it Broadway?
It was two things. It was a commercial for Glade, and I bought my house with the money I made on it.
How amazing.
And the commercial was, "It's not an air conditioner, it's an air conditioner." That was the commercial.
Now, where did that commercial lead you to? Where did you go next? Did you go to Broadway? Did you go to television?
I went to Broadway, and I did The Time of Your Life at City Center.
Oh, how exciting. Now, how exciting was that to be?
Gloria Vanderbilt and a whole cast of wonderful people.
Now, did you do just that specific show for 21 years?
Say it again?
Did you do just that one specific show for 21 years, or did you come back, go on and off?
I did many shows on Broadway for 21 years. I did Last of the Red Hot Lovers. I did Cheaters. I did, Bad Habits. I won the Outer Critics Circle Award for that play. I did several.
I know a lot about you, and I know some of our listeners do, but for some of the ones who don't, I really want them to really appreciate all your hard work and your history in such an industry, because you truly are an icon. And so I know some of these questions seem a little tedious, but I really want people to appreciate where you've come from and how much you've inspired so many. So that now, would you go back to Broadway ever?
Yeah, sure, if it's the right part and at the right time, sure.
That's so awesome. Now, you've been involved in a lot of television and movies, one being the Christmas Vacation, which is everybody's favorite Christmas movie, I think. It's certainly in my top 3. How did you fall into that role, and how was it a lot of fun? What was it like to work with the cast and everything else?
Well, it was sometimes difficult and sometimes terrific.
So you had a bit of a mix there.
Yep.
Yeah. What was one of your favorite parts of filming the Christmas Story? Can you tell us any funny stories for the Christmas Vacation?
Funny stories?
Like a funny story, something that happened behind the scenes that we didn't get to see as fans?
Yeah. Our director was up on a great big ladder, and he was giving us direction. And he could hardly see us because we were so small in the frame. And he would tell us something to do, and we couldn't quite figure out what he was saying. So he had a little trouble with that. But finally, we all got it straight. We did it, and that was it.
Well, there you go. Were you surprised that it became such a huge, go-to Christmas movie, or did you kind of know it would become such a huge success all along?
No, I was surprised. I really was. I mean, I'm no matter where I seem to go, they've seen it and they love it and they watch it every year.
Well, I think it's true. Even the night before my husband and I got married, because we got married during Christmas, in our VCR, and our DVD player was Christmas Vacation. I think it's one of those Christmas movies you have to watch before Christmas Day, or your Christmas is not complete.
Okay, that's lovely.
You're like, I don't understand why, but we'll go with it. No.
Right.
What was it like to work with such a diverse cast? I mean, you've worked with so many. Now, when did you actually have to back up a little bit? Did you film the movie around Christmas time, or did you film it in the summer months? Did you have to make fake snow or anything?
I really don't remember when I filmed it. I don't. It was because we had to have snow everywhere, and for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was artificial snow.
Oh, was it? Okay. That's very cool. There's a lot of crazy things that happen in the movie. And I loved your character, because your character was warm, but yet not so much. Your character certainly loved the finer things in life. And it was such a funny character. It was one of my favorites, actually. You and Chevy Chase were my favorite characters. And then, I also grew up watching you as a child on Remington Steele with my mom. That's one of our most nostalgic memories, is watching you on Remington Steele. How did you fall into that part, other than maybe auditioning?
I read for it, I auditioned for it, and I got it.
No, plain and simple. Now, with that one, you were in many, many places. A lot of the back scenes were all over the world. Did you travel actually all over the world, or were you on a specific set for it?
We traveled somewhat, yeah, we did. We went to Ireland at one point. That was great.
That's so awesome.
I know that we went to Italy on Everybody Loves Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. I love to travel, and when I get on a show that takes me to different parts of the world, I'm as happy as could be.
Oh, wow. Now, what was one of your? I want to talk about one of your favorite What was one of your favorite episodes on Remington Steele? What was one of your favorites to film or even to watch?
I laughed so hard. There was a point where Piers tried to hold me up.
Uh-huh.
I was fainting or doing something silly like that, and he went to hold me up, and of course, my weight brought him right down to the floor. So, we were on the floor together.
Well, there's a scandal waiting to happen.
Right.
Pictures, now after you said that, pictures will surface, and they'll be like, oh, did Pierce Brosnan and Doris Roberts have an affair? Tonight at 7. Now, what was it like working with Mr. Brosnan and
He
your...
was terrific. He was absolutely terrific. It was a very sad time of my life because my husband was dying of leukemia.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And 2 of us were sitting on a bench waiting for the lights to be done to be able to do our next scene. And Pierce was saying to me things so sweet. And he said, isn't life strange? Here we are. You're unfortunately knowing that your husband is dying, and you're sitting there waiting to hear the hospital call you. And I'm sitting here waiting for the hospital to call me because I'm going to have my first child. My wife is going to have my first child.
Oh,
and that was a strange. That was a strange time, but a very sweet time for him. And he was very dear to me. He's a good man.
Oh,
he really is.
I've always heard that. And not only is he a good man, but he's a very handsome man.
Oh,
and and I'm so glad I thank you for sharing that story because it's very personal. And I'm so sorry for your loss, even though it was many years ago. But thank you so much for sharing that story. That's very heartfelt, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
Would you go back and do like a Remington Steele reunion? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Sure. If the script's so good, that's where you go.
Yeah. How fun would that be?
I had a great time on Everybody Loves Raymond.
I'm going to ask you that next.
9 years of a great time, so I have no complaints.
That's always looked, and you can always tell when a cast actually gets along really well, because not only do they have good chemistry, but you can tell when they have good chemistry off screen, and it makes for such a better show. And you could always tell that all of you guys seemed to be having a really great time.
Yeah, we had great respect for each other and each other's talents. We really did. And I loved working with Peter Boyle. He was so much the antithesis of the characters that he played. Always played curmudgeons and people like that. He was a sweet man to begin with. He loved to sing. He he wanted to be a priest at one point.
Really?
Oh yeah, and he studied, and then he found out that he couldn't have sex, and he quit.
I often hear that's one of the game stoppers of that profession. Then they're like,
he was a dear man. Very educated, very well read, very caring, very involved, and I miss him a lot.
Aww, that's so sad. I know it was a great loss to everybody when he passed, and it was a shock.
It sure was.
An absolute shock.
He asked me when he found out about his illness if he should tell them. I said no, because they'll treat you as a dying man, and that's not who you are. And he had 3 more years after that.
That's such good advice, and we have my sister-in-law has bone and breast cancer stage 4. And I've noticed when you treat them as if absolutely nothing's wrong, they somehow dig down deep and find a piece of them that's not ready to give up, and they surpass everybody's expectations because you're not treating them like a victim, and you're not treating them like a dead person.
Right,
I think
it gives them the courage to do that.
Absolutely, 100%. And so I kind of cringe when, of course, you feel sorry for somebody, and you have to grieve your news. You have to grieve the fact that you've been given this news.
Yeah.
But I think when people are treated like they're already dead, they're like, well, why not? And I think that completely, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not helpful.
No, it sabotages. It sabotages any healing that they could do.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now, that really was a fun show. And I didn't have an overbearing Italian mother, but I have overbearing Italian aunts. I completely related with Raymond and even his wife in the plight of the overbearing Italian mother, because that's how my aunts were.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorite episodes to film and why?
Well, my sculpture was one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
Do you remember that one?
Vaguely. There's been so many.
Okay,
and
I did an abstract sculpture, and it was of a vagina.
That's right. And that was one that...
I gave it to my son and my daughter-in-law, and they didn't want it, so I called the nuns in, and the nuns took a look at it, and they didn't want it.
I remember
Peter would look at it and say, I don't know what this is, but I like it.
I remember that, because I remember you had taken it over to their house and like, here, have it, and Deborah and Ray were like, and I said to my dad at the time, because I used to watch it with my dad, and this was before I was married, I go, why on earth would she ever do that? But that's something my Aunt Joni would do. And he was like, that was definitely one of the ones that was absolutely hilarious. Do you have a funny story to share, like a behind the scenes thing
of the show?
Yeah, like something funny that happened behind the scenes that no one else got to see.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, no. Except
it was just funny all the time.
Peter looking at that and saying, I don't know what it is, but I like it. And then I asked my son if that's what he thought it looked like, too. And he said, well, if you squint, it looks like that. So I did a little squinting, and then I said, oh, my God, I'm a lesbian.
Oh, my God, that is hilarious. Oh, my God, I'm a lesbian. I swear we should keep that as a soundbite because that's awesome. I love that.
I now have that sculpture in my house.
You do?
They asked me what I wanted to take off the set, and I said the abstract sculpture. So I have that in my house, and it certainly is talked about.
I can imagine it's a centerpiece of conversation. It's something we set the turkey around on Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, too.
Oh, my God. They were all funny. Like, I just...
Oh, I know something that happened.
Okay.
It wasn't that show, though. It was a show called Angie.
Oh, okay.
And they used to, on the set of Angie, they used to throw candy out into the audience.
Oh, really?
And we did this show, and it was very funny, but they weren't laughing, and I couldn't understand why they weren't laughing. So I looked out into the audience to find what they were doing, and what happened is they were throwing candy into the audience, but they didn't realize that the audience was made up of blind people.
Oh, no.
And they were getting hit on the head with this candy.
Oh, no.
Isn't that terrible?
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm picturing that in my head, and how awful that must be for them to get hit in the head, and they're like, what is going on?
It was terrible. But they finally stopped doing that and gave out the candy, didn't throw it at them.
That's probably a good idea. I'm just almost like insulting. Oh, my God, those poor people.
It's a very good idea, yeah.
Those poor people.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. That, I kind of wish, that would be mean to have that on tape. But my goodness, those poor people. So you've not only done Christmas Vacation, but you've also done a movie that I actually watched last year. I don't know if it just came up, but Mrs. Miracle.
Yeah.
And that was a very heartwarming show.
I did 2 of those, and it comes in every year. They show it, and it comes in #1 for Hallmark. Yes,
because it's so sweet and so heartwarming, and how can you not love little kids? That was really, really great, and you played the perfect Mrs. Santa Claus.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that. That's good.
It was so, so great, and it actually is what I was sick right up, and I actually just flipped it on Hallmark, and it was Christmas, and during Christmas I always have to watch Christmas movies. I don't care what time it is, what channel it's on. It's Christmas. I got to watch it, and I turned it on, like, and at first I saw you, I'm like, oh, wow, that's Doris Roberts. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute, little kids. And, oh. It was really, really great. It was really awesome.
Thanks.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And I'm still kind of fanning out. I can't believe I'm talking to you. Holy crap. Okay, I got it out, my sister. So you've done Little Rascal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I did that, and another movie called Touched.
Mm-hmm.
That was very good.
Mm-hmm. And they were very good. And, you know, I have to honestly say, and I said this to Bruce Boxleitner, too, you both so many wonderful movies and shows, and none of them are bad. They're all really great. And unfortunately, you can't say that for all actors, unfortunately, but I can say that for you. And are you choosy and picky about the roles you pick, or?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So what process do you go through in order to choose what roles you may or may not want?
Well, I'll give an example. I won't tell you what the network was, but the network sent me a script in which I was talking to an African-American man, and they had the word coon on the script. I said, excuse me, I don't do that.
No,
I refuse that script. If it's not good, if it's not honest, if it's not detrimental to anybody or any race of people, I will look at it. But if it is, I have nothing to do with it. I don't want to put that out in the ether. And I said that to these people. But, there's some other actress who took that job, and I don't need it and I don't want it.
I don't blame you. And I think that's so great that you stood up, not just for yourself, but for dignity. And because I don't think those words have dignity.
Oh, those words are terrible. I mean, I'm a Jew, and if someone called me a kike, I'd feel that I'd like to kill him,
Well, yeah, it's not, and I'll never understand why.
There's no need for that in the world.
There's
love
enough
in the world, and caring in the world, and understanding and acceptance and all good things like that. I mean, I don't want to talk about it, but that young man who killed those girls and boys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody knew he was crazy, but nobody did anything about it. And he was able to get all those guns and all that ammunition, and nobody questioned that.
My coworker and I were actually talking about that today. We do, it's kind of a touchy topic, and I kind of don't want to go into it because that's not what the show's about, but I agree. Somebody should have done something about it, and he should have been red flagged. And there was
worse than that. He was picked up by the cops 3 times.
And they never did anything.
They examined him, they said, and they found him so charming and caring, and he wouldn't hurt anybody. What the hell does a priest know about that? Or a policeman?
Exactly.
What should be interviewing people like that are doctors.
He should have been evaluated. I absolutely 100%. He should have been evaluated.
The policeman has no way to evaluate whether or not he's, crazy enough to harm people. And look what he did.
Yeah, his parents, though, called the doctors and, you should do something about this.
When is our country going to stop fooling around and do something about gun laws?
You know what? That's a very good question. And I wish we had answers.
Can we bring that up in the show? Or is that too?
Absolutely. No, go ahead.
Okay.
This show's all about you and what you want to talk about.
Okay. I'll talk about that, and I also want to talk about the ranch hand rescue.
Yep, your charity. I think it's important that we get to that, too, because I want to give out the information where people can go and donate and be involved.
Great. So that's 2 things we could talk about.
Okay. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. I do believe we should have stricter gun laws for 100 million %. And I think if somebody has a red flag, because like I said, I take psychology. I'm a psychology major, and I've worked in the healthcare field quite a long time. And I really think if somebody, I think people should go through a strict psychiatric evaluation before they own any weapon. And because it's just, there's so much, it's not just guns, it's knives too. It's other weapons that are illegal that people get in this country that come from other countries, and they use them to harm people. And we really do. I agree with you. We need stricter laws. We need some kind of handle on this so other people don't get hurt like this young man did to these girls. And just a side note for people who don't know, his parents did try to give him help, but he is so charming and he is so this. And he made like over 100 YouTube videos talking about how he wanted to harm and hurt and kill people because he wasn't getting, sexual satisfaction. And then when he was called on it, he erased all the videos. And I wish he hadn't because, somebody who knew about those should have done something. And it does take a village.
What was so insane that a lot of students that he was in class with avoided him because they all knew he was crazy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, if all those kids knew, where were the teachers? Where were all of those people?
And it's just not him. You look at Columbine, you look at the Aurora shooting, you look at all these things, and it's just like.
I mean, how long does this go on before they do it again? You wake up in the morning and you hear these horrible stories, and nobody does anything about it.
Think about it. It actually goes back to like 1950-something when Charles went up to the tower on the Texas University and shot how many people?
Oh, God.
It goes way back then that they've been planning this, and we're still talking about crimes being committed like this, and it shouldn't be necessary. Because they have. No. It shouldn't be necessary. But I agree with you, Ms. Roberts, 120%.
Okay. Call me Doris.
Doris. Oh, she said I can call her Doris. Total fan moment. Now, ranch hand rescue. What is that about? What does that entail? How can people help?
Send money. Let me tell you one story, and then
okay.
you'll know why I'm so crazy about this organization. There's a little boy of 10 years old who unfortunately was sexually abused by his father. Mm-hmm. Well, the situation was so traumatic that he cannot speak of it at all. He can't speak to the therapist, to friends, to anybody. So a horse was brought in with a broken leg, and he asked the therapist what happened to that horse. And she said, well, the man who owned him beat him with a bat and broke his leg.
Oh, my God.
The horse is now on the ground. And the little boy goes up to the horse, gets on his hands and knees, and whispers into his ear what his father did to him. And that started a whole new way of therapy. These children use animals to tell what their story is because the animals can't speak. So the secret is still with them, you see. But they get it out of their bodies and their brains by telling this story. And it's extraordinary what's happening. And that's why I'm so crazy about ranch hand rescue.
That's amazing. You know what? I love that. I love that because...
Can I tell that story?
I'm sorry?
Can I tell that story on?
Oh, absolutely. Everything you say here will be aired. Nothing will be cut.
Okay, great.
I love that because I've worked in a home for troubled teens. Well, it's technically a hospital, and a lot of them went through very similar things, unfortunate things that the little boy went through. And I think sometimes it's very intimidating talking to people. And so what a beautiful thing that they can talk to someone or, an animal that understands and doesn't speak back, and they can't tell their secrets. And what a comforting...
And they're safe.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful that this is working the way it is. Just wonderful.
I love it. And I love the fact that you're a part of it. Now, do you work with some of these children? Do you go and talk to them?
No, because they're in Texas and I'm here in Los Angeles.
I see. At least
another one. There's another horse called Midnight, and he only had 3 legs, and the 4th leg only went to a kneecap.
Oh, the love.
And so everybody told Bob Williams, who runs the place, to put the horse down. He said, no.
Oh,
he put him down. He can't do anything. He's got that bad leg, and what are you going to do with him? He said, no. He said, I looked into that horse's eyes, and he told me he wanted to live longer.
Aww.
So Bob went out and got a doctor who made a prosthetic leg for the horse. And we have film that shows him, the minute they put that prosthetic leg on his leg that was so bad, he started to prance and run all over the meadow, and I tell you, it's extraordinary to see him do that. What we do is we take that horse to hospitals that have returning veterans who unfortunately have had their legs amputated. Mm-hmm. When they see that horse run and prance, it gives them hope that if that horse could do that, so can they. And we take them to children's hospitals where little kids have to have their legs amputated. And they think the same thing about that horse. If the horse can do it, so can I. So it's a marvelous, marvelous way of giving them hope and having a better life than they would have had normally if they didn't have a prosthetic leg.
That's awesome. What a beautiful, beautiful charity. What an amazing gift for people. And you know what? Animals are very underrated as therapeutic. And I hate to call them things because they're not things. They're living and breathing as therapeutic outlets, I guess, because they're loving and they're innately loving. And when you have a horse that's lost a leg and you bring around children, or you have a horse or even a dog or cat that's been abused, and you tell that child he's gone through a rough life too, they automatically have a bond. And I think it's such a healing thing. And I'm so glad that they use animals as healing outlets for these people who need love and kindness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Did you by any chance see the thing that with a cat on the news where a little boy was being frightened,
attacked,
by dogs? And his cat came running in at it was so amazing that he came in and broke it up and shooed the dogs away and saved his little friend.
I did, and it was just amazing. Like, how brave is that cat, and how lucky is that little boy? I saw it actually on Facebook where everything's on Facebook.
Yeah. It was wonderful.
That is wonderful. Unfortunately, my cat would just be like, "Oh, can she still feed us? Can she still get the food?" They'd be like, "It's too hot. I can't move." Right. Now, for people who want to donate to Ranch Hands Rescue, and everybody should. As a matter of fact, we are, and I'd like to actually interview somebody from Ranch Hand Rescue so they can come on and promote some more. Go to www.ranchhandrescue.org. That's www.ranchhandrescue.org. Go and donate, read up about it, and if you're in the Texas area, maybe you can even volunteer your time, or if maybe you even have an animal, a horse that you could let them use to help be a therapeutic outlet for these wonderful people. That's www.ranchhandrescue. So what other things, movies, shows, or other charities are you involved in, or things we can watch out for that you're a part of that should be looking out for?
Well, I was involved with Children Affected by AIDS Foundation, but through education and medication, the young people are not coming down with it. Young, very young people, which is wonderful. But I think if we spend time with Ranch Hand Rescue, I would be very pleased if we can get people to send money, any amounts of money.
Absolutely. Well, what I'll do is, for everybody out there listening, because now and later when we air the show again, I will put the link onto my personal Facebook and onto our website, www.dtmwickedradio.com. And what we'll do is put a link on there, and you can go and click on the link and donate money, donate your time if you're in Texas. And like I said, this will be on DTM Wicked Radio's Facebook page, my Facebook page, Tiffani Beth Gager, and on our DTM Wicked Radio website, www.dtmwickedradio.com. So everybody go there. We're going to go there. We're going to donate money because we're in New York.
And people will see this visually on the screen, where to send it? Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep, because what they'll do is once we send all this information to our IT guy, because Lord knows I am not technologically savvy, he will put it on our website, and we'll even make a banner for it and everything.
Great.
And we'll put it right on our homepage. So when people go there, they'll see Ranch Hand Rescue.
That's wonderful.
Well, it's important, and we all need help. Everybody needs to help each other.
Yeah, we do.
That's what it's about. And now, like I said, I'll put it on my personal Facebook page and our DTM Wicked Radio page.
Okay.
So, and we'll get the word out there. Don't you worry about it. We're on this.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that with us. It means a lot.
Okay.
It means so much. Now, do you have any more shows coming up or movies that we could be looking out for?
Not right now, no. People right can now. Buy the Little Rascal DVDs. That can be bought. The
Little Rascal Save the Day. That is on demand and on DVD and Blu-ray. And it actually is in Walmart right now if you're near a Walmart, or it's by other things too. And FYI and FYE, and I think there's another movie store I can't remember. Oh, my brain's shutting down, I think. Oh Lord. And also and you can buy Remington Steele and Everybody Loves Raymond DVDs. You can buy the seasons of those. You can also buy Mrs. Miracle. I know you can buy those too. Those are on Hallmark, and you can buy them on Amazon. Which, if you go to www.dtmwickedradio.com, you click on the little Amazon affiliate thing, and you can order it right there. How simple is that?
That's
DTM
great.
Wicked Radio, where all your needs are met.
Okay.
Well, I won't keep you any longer, and I just want to remind everybody, www.ranchhandrescue.org. We're going to put this on our website with a banner on the home page. I'm going to put it on the DTM Wicked Radio page, and I'm going to put it on my Facebook page. Is there anything you want to plug anywhere else you can be reached? Or, people can go like your Facebook page, Doris Roberts. Which do you put updates for Ranch Hand Rescue on your Facebook page, on your on your public figures page?
I think what you're doing is really sufficient and wonderful.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Just want to make sure.
Yep.
And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, Doris. You are so amazing. You have been an inspiration to me throughout my whole life. Whenever I watched one of your shows or movies, I always felt better. And thank you so much, and thank you for the work you do. Everybody, again, it's www.ranchhandrescue.org, and you'll find it on DTM Wicked Radio, my Facebook page, and DTM Wicked Radio's Facebook page. I want to thank you again so much. You have an open door on the Wicked Edge anytime.
Okay, and thank you for all the nice things you said.
Well, it's honest. And thank you for being you. And have a fantastic evening. And thank you again so much for your time. You're amazing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Everybody, this is Doris. Okay, this is Doris Roberts. I'm Tiffani Beth, and we're signing off on the Wicked Edge. Good night, everybody.